just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming on this call right now. This is very exciting that we get to have this conversation. Mr. Maurice Washington is being added to our call. If I could tell you about this lovely man that I have met, it's only been a few months now. Wonderful, wonderful man in terms of what he is doing, what his dreams and his visions are, how he is doing great things with his life. Mr. Maurice, how are you, honey?
I'm doing amazing. How are you tonight?
I am doing quite well. I am so glad to have you on here. Just taking a few more minutes to share the link across a couple of the sites so that people know that we are going live right now.
Yes.
I'm so excited to have you on this conversation. I'm so excited that we are having this conversation. I want to thank Marcia for getting on. Hi, Marcia.
Hello,
Share the link,
Marsha.
you guys. Share the link. Share the link, you guys. As you know, the last time we had a conversation, a real talk conversation, we talked about pain, possibilities and achievements in the midst of negative situations. And we had a really good conversation. So we just want to make sure that we have people out there sharing what's going on. Deidre, hi, Deidre. So happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining.
Hello, Deidre.
I've got people asking, where are you? I can't find you. Are you sharing, Mr. Maurice?
Am I sharing?
Are you sharing?
Send
This
me
is the
the
time
link.
for you to share.
Yeah. So I can do that.
You don't know how to do that? I'll send you the link, hun.
Okay.
I will send you the link. Okay. So I just want to thank you for coming on the call right now. It is a pleasure to have you on this call. There we go. I'm sending out the link to a couple more people. So I want to first and foremost introduce the lovely, elegant, charming Mr. Maurice Washington. Hi, Fasana.
What up, Fasana?
Maurice. Maurice is, I met Maurice, maybe 2 months? Has it been about 2 months now?
Been about 2 months.
Maybe.
Yes.
It's been about 2 months that I met Maurice, and it was a very amazing interaction. Basically, I met Maurice in terms of you were actually very determined. This is such a great conversation that we're talking about champions, because the reason why I met you was because you were actually being a champion and you were trying to obtain something and you were trying to reach for a goal and you weren't ready to give up and say no until you obtained something. I met this lovely man because I was in New Jersey, and Les Brown was having an event.
Yes.
And you were so gung-ho about making sure that you met Mr. Brown to give him one of your Fit for Greatness shirts that you're wearing right now. Yay!
Yes.
And it was after the morning, and you were trying to get in for the lunch Q&A, and you had decided, I saw you and you were trying to get in, and coach, who wasn't your coach at the time, Mr. Byron Nelson,
yes.
had you had met me and you were like, can I come in with your group? And I was like, well, you got to ask coach. And coach just saw this flare in you, in this willingness to become something and do something. And next thing you know, we went from being complete strangers to people in a building to being partners in a business to in a project and achieving some great things. And the reason why I invited you onto this call right now is because the word champion means someone that is willing to strive for something or to advocate for people. And I'm just going to hand this over to you for a minute for you to be able to tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do. I'm going to give shout outs to everybody out there. And while Mr. Maurice is speaking, I'm going to ask you, share the link, you guys. Share the link. Great conversation that's about to happen. Hi, Zach. Hi, Wesley. Mr. Maurice, take it away.
Hello, everyone. All right. So yes, my name is Maurice Washington. I'm a CEO of a company called Fit for Greatness. Fit for Greatness is all about. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me get this really quick, Kalila. I hear a
Mhm.
I hear myself. Do you hear that?
Is it okay now? Are you better?
Let me see. No,
Are you echoing?
I'm echoing. I'm echoing. Yes.
Okay, there
Beautiful,
you
beautiful.
go.
All right, there we go. I just had to make sure we was good. Yeah, so let me introduce myself
Okay.
again. My name is Maurice Washington. Thank you so much, Kalila, for having me on the call. I'm honored to be here right now. Um, I run a company called Fit for Greatness. It's a personal training and motivation company, and I created this because I was once um, in a tough time, and I was able to get out of it. And I had a lot of support, but I also had the motivation of just of myself, and I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I went through a lot. And after I was able to get out of this, I was like, there's a lot of people out there that don't have the support to get out of, at the moment I was depressed. I was very depressed. And, there's a lot of people out there that are depressed. Depression is one of the key disorders that is going around. And we probably, a lot of us can relate to that. And it disables us at times, and it causes us to want to run away from life, and it doesn't allow us to surface our inner greatness, to understand how great we are. So I got into fitness, and the fitness journey allowed me to motivate myself and develop the body that I had. And while developing this body, I was able to produce core values and characteristics and habits and principles that I started implementing in my real life. And it was like a light bulb, and I was listening to Les Brown, as that's where I met you at his event. And one thing he said was, "We all have greatness within us. You just have to surface it." And as I was working out, I started realizing my own greatness, and I realized how much fitness was an analogy of life. The same characteristics and habits and values that you had to implement to get the body you want, being committed, being disciplined, being persistent, pushing past your limits. All you have to do is implement that in your real life, and you can get the same results in your life. Being able to live your dreams, being able to become the best version of yourself. So that's when Fit for Greatness came about. And I was able to take my fitness industry and start molding minds as I molded bodies. So what's great about fitness is, with social media nowadays, a lot of us, we so are worried about our appearance and what we perceive people to see. They want to see a certain thing. So we're like, I want to work on our bodies. And we also, a lot of us need to see to believe it. So what I started thinking was, if I can start making you think, let's get results of your body. You can see this within 3 months. And as I'm doing that, I start training you on how to correlate the values and habits and characteristics that you're developing to get your body. I start training you how to correlate that to your mind, and how you're building your mind, and how every time you're pushing past your limit by lifting a certain weight, by going up in pounds, by trying a new exercise, you're thinking about how you could do the same in your life. So as you see Fit for Greatness, this logo that I have right here, it's a mind, but it's also a bicep. The number 4 within the bicep stands for mind, soul, appearance, and health. So I felt that fitness was the only thing that you could work on 4 things at one time. You could kill 4 birds with one stone. And there's not many things you could do that. Is there anything you could come up right now other than fitness and health that you can work, and kill 4 birds in one stone, Kalila? Can you think of anything?
Mm-hmm. No, not
Right?
right now.
So through fitness, I was able to develop my mind, develop my appearance, develop my soul, and develop my health. All right. So when I started doing that, and I created Fit for Greatness, I wanted everybody to realize that greatness is within them, that we were all blessed to be here on this earth. Les Brown says we're 1 in 400 million sperm. So that means the odds of us being here today are very, very like this. So the fact that you're on this planet, you're here for a purpose. You're here to be the greatest version of you, the best version of you. And when I realized that about myself, I had to let other people know. Hold on really quickly.
I want I want to say hi to Deidre. I want to say hi to Wendy, Marsha. I want to say hi to Jaleesa. People are leaving some really good remarks about you, Mr. Rhys. Awesome determination, hard work, and dedication. Rhys is amazing, a true inspiration, and a fabulous mentor. He's always so happy and positive. I want to kind of get into that because one of the things about what it means to be, I guess everybody always assumes that when it comes to being a champion, everybody always assumes like a superhero, a Hercules, like everything at the end is so great, like even biblically they think of like Moses at the end or David at the end, but they don't really sit back and think about the struggles that one goes through, what it means to be a champion, what it means to go up that hill, what it means to struggle, and what it means to strive. And one of the things that we both have in common is that we both go out and we mentor. And we both try to encourage both young and young at heart. And one of the things that I saw you do one day was that I think just before some kids were going into a science fair, you were giving them that pep talk.
Yeah.
And it was such an amazing thing to see who you are and the inspiration that you were giving to them. So tell me, what is it that makes you step aside and encourage or motivate people to realize that even though they're going through something right now, that doesn't mean that's the end outcome, and that they can become something else?
Well, life is filled with struggles and ups and downs, and through my life, I've been through enough to realize that it's gonna occur, that you're gonna hit valleys, but through these valleys is what makes you become the greatest version of yourself. It allows you to learn. It allows you to develop such a grit and ability to persevere because we don't live in a fairy tale world. So when I was able to get through my own struggles, going through um, being part of a small city where a lot of my friends got killed, having a family member who was, disabled by opiate addiction that affected me. And when I was able to persevere through it, and at first I used to, take it and make it an excuse, like, y'all the reason, my life is the reason why I'm down. And, this family member is the reason why I can't, get up and be the best version of myself. And when I realized that I was actually appreciative of everything that I went through, more so than using it as a becoming a victim of it, because it created somebody so much stronger. That every time I was able to get through a problem, it made me realize that this world can't take me down, but it only will make me be able to get through what it has ahead for me. So I want everybody to realize that failures and struggles are your best friends. That all that you go through in life is going to make you the greatest version of yourself. I have a tattoo on me that says, greatness is built from struggle, formed from pain, and strengthened by adversity. The word fear, the word failure, struggles, it gives such a negative connotation in our minds. I feel like I was put on this earth to change people's perception. Life is all about perception, Kalila. And if I can change the perception and make people realize that they always stay positive, if they always take everything they go through and let it develop them, that they'll always be okay. I'm all about good vibes. So what you saw with those children was I wanted to get in their mindset early that every situation they're going to be in, they can find a positive understanding behind it. If it's a positive situation, if some people call it a negative situation, I don't believe in negative situations because you learn from it. Another motto I use is, I win or win. The only L I take is a lesson. So let me repeat that one more time.
It's a lesson.
I either win or win. The only L I take is a lesson. So when you have that perception, when you have that mindset, I'm sorry?
Oh, no, continue. When you have that perception, you have that.
It's never going to be a moment in life where you can get discouraged, and it's going to happen. We're humans, and we will feel a little down at times. But as long as we rewire, we rationalize, and we reframe that all the situations in life that we're going through is only to make us better. and that without them, we can't become greater, then, we'll be able to get through anything, and we'll be able to become champions. The top thing to become the champion, to me, is your mindset. And it's just the perception of your
You,
mind. It's how you look at everything. And the reason I'm always smiling, the reason
it
I'm always happy, the reason I'm always energized is because I'm able to reframe every situation and find at least the 1% positive in it. And the positive is that, did I learn from it? Did I get a lesson from it? And how can I take that learning lesson, implement it in my life, and only become great?
it is actually such an amazing thing because, you know, one of the things that we have an issue with, especially in life nowadays, and with us talking about mental health and depression and just different things, is that, you know, people really don't learn about just getting through life a lot as much right now. And it's a really hard thing because, you know, everybody, I don't know where people got it from. I don't know if it's the fairy tales. I don't know, but everybody has this live happily ever after thing. And then when it doesn't happen, they get so discouraged. But even when you looked at the fable, when you looked at the fairy tales, there was some kind of issue, conflict, something that grew that person, that developed that person. And we have such a, and it's hard. Like let's not pretend and be like it's easy, because the list, like if people are to go to the My Life is a Testimony, they're going to see the list and the list and the list of all the different things that I've been through. And it hasn't been easy for you too. You didn't wake up one day and decide I'm going to be this fitness trainer. You had to go through a lot of different life lessons, and through those life lessons, even when you were saying to me, like, you know, you were this big kid and you didn't want to be that anymore, you decided to make a change for yourself. And I was looking at your Instagram, which, by the way, you guys, if you don't know, it's Fit for Greatness. It's _ Fit for Greatness on Instagram. When you look at the development of who you are, you weren't this thick, you know, muscular guy when you first started your journey, and we've grown over the time. And if our mindsets can change, because I used to be that same thing. I used to be this, oh, I used to be this whole, you know, something would happen, woe is me, my life is over. And sometimes, you know, you still kind of get there. But it's, what am I going to learn out of this? How am I going to grow out of this? Where is this going to um, change me? How's it going to make a difference? And and it's such an amazing thing where we have to, if that tweak in our mindset, that change in the way that we see life, that perspective, that very small thing about how we take on life really helps us determine if we have a smile on our face or not. Like, everybody, shout out to the Matrix group, everybody in the
Yes, shout
Matrix
out to the
group,
Matrix.
didn't know you, but because you were posting videos about, you know, I'm thirsty and I'm happy, and the two of it, like, you have this grin on your face. I have like a grin on my face because we know what struggle is, but we know what it means to conquer it. And I think that that mindset is really about just that champion mindset is not necessarily about the actions, but also about the mindset that you have about, are you going to overcome something? Are you going to strive through something? Are you going to get to the top? Because, like, champions aren't just about, did you get to number one? You know, it's not just, did you make it to the pulpit on the platform? It's, did you achieve? Did you finish that line, that finish line? Did you obtain more? You know, like, it's a really interesting thing how, unfortunately, they're not teaching some of the same things in school anymore the way that they used to. If I'm making sense,
Yes.
am I making sense?
Yeah, you make it sense.
You know,
You know,
um,
the one thing I want to
but
add to that
mhm.
is, you said, it's not about being the best. It's not about being on that platform. When you becoming a champion, I feel like the only competition you have is against yourself. That's how I look at it. I don't compare myself to no one else. I'm not trying to beat out anyone else but myself. I want to become a champion of me, a champion of get to know who I am as an individual, a champion of, loving myself, a champion of understanding my gifts, my talents, my purpose, a champion of being able to take who I am and provide value to the world. You know, when I mention great, my definition of great is becoming the best version of you. That's it. You know, a lot of us, I know, you know, with social media and everything, we see other people's lives and we see what they're accomplishing, and we start comparing our lives to it, and, you know, what we think we should accomplish and everything. And that's, you know, it kind of is where we go wrong, because somebody could be doing something and they could be great at that. But it doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing. It doesn't mean that
Mm,
you can actually go that path and succeed there too. What you have to do is you have to find what you love. You have to find what makes you happy. You know, how I found my purpose, how I got to this point was I thought about, what do I love? What do I do every day without thinking about making money? Without, you know, thinking about how can I gain from this?
yeah.
And what I love to do is I love to work out. And what I also love to do, anything that helped me, I love to tell everybody about it. I love to share my secrets. You know, I could like something to eat. I'll be out to eat
Yes.
and I'm like, yo, bro, you gotta taste this. You know, or yo, girl, you gotta, you know, and yeah. And I realized, I said,
He's not.
wow, like the first version of Rhys is helping others. You know, and I do it every day. I don't need anything from it. If you go on my Instagram, everybody underscore fit for greatness, every day I'm on there trying to make people smile, give them a positive perception. I understood what my purpose was. And I feel like I'm becoming a champion of champions because I'm becoming a champion of me. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm getting to know who I truly am as a person. And I'm not trying to become someone for somebody else, or I'm not trying to follow societal norms and do what they say I should do, but I'm doing what I feel I should do so I can make the most out of the life that I live and the most out of the world, you know, and providing for others, the most I can provide to others. So, and that's
Mm,
why me and Khalil are on this call right now, because that's what makes us a champion, making you champion, you know. And yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Kim and Dee who just came on the line. Please, you guys, share this link. We're having some really good conversation right now, especially when people don't openly and honestly have these conversations. That's why it's called Real Talk. So I'm just asking, share the link right now. We're going to be on this conversation for a few more minutes. So just make sure you share this out there. I have a question for you, Rhys. So the
Yes.
one thing about both of us is we didn't come from, our mindsets weren't like this 10 years ago. We weren't the people that were all, I mean, like, we were always happy, but we weren't always about the, okay with the adversity.
Yes.
Was there something in your life that made that switch for you? Was there something that happened that one day you
Mm-hmm.
said, this is how my perspective is going to change? So if we're going to sit here and talk about we are champions, you've got people out there that are trying, they're struggling, they're trying to achieve more, they're trying to be better, they're trying to obtain something, they're trying, period, they're
Yeah.
trying. And just like let's just like we still are, let's just get this straight for the people that are watching us. Don't get it twisted. Just because me and me and Mo are okay, or we're smiling, doesn't mean that we're not struggling. Like, I'm sitting here right now and you guys have no idea that, like, my fibromyalgia is kicking in and I'm drugged up having this conversation. And we still have our thing. But was there something that happened in your life? Was there something that happened that made you decide to go, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna try and see life differently. When adversity comes, I'm not going to let it be the thing that always tears me down, always makes me running, all because it used to make us hide,
Yes, yes.
right?
I
Like,
ran. Oh my God, I ran.
like we ran, like,
I
so
was gone.
duck it.
Everything I could possibly do to run, I tried to do. If it was drugs,
Mhm.
if it was partying, if it was drinking, if it was women, I found anything to hide behind to make me feel that my life wasn't as messed up as it was. Um,
Mhm.
so what was the switch for me?
Yeah.
What it was, you know, like I said, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got to a point to where I was so low. I said, this can't be it. This can't be like, you know. There's so many other people out there, you know, uh, enjoying life. And I was, you know, if some of you are there right now, you know, you're looking at others. You might be looking at me, Kalila, and you're like, they're enjoying life. Why? So I started asking that question. why are other people enjoying life and I can't? You know, everybody had to go through something. Everybody's life's not perfect. You know, how are they enjoying life? And I honestly went on a self-development journey, and that's what helped me. So I started thinking, I said, it has to be a secret or something that successful people or happy people do to be happy. So I started looking up, what do successful people do to be happy? You know, we had Google, we got technology,
Really?
right? And
Google
and
it.
you know, Google started helping me. You know, it started saying, you know, read books that give the stories of people who are becoming successful. One thing said, listen to podcasts, you know, of successful people talking about their stories. Um, Another thing was, you know, telling me whatever you listen to is what you will believe and what you start becoming. So, you know what I did? I stopped listening to the radio. Stopped listening to music. Not that music is wrong, but I understood that the sex, the drugs, the money, the partying was all in the music I was listening to. You know, when that song came on, you know, Molly Percocets. I ain't gonna lie, I was souped. Molly Percocets, you know.
Don't worry, I was Naughty Girl by Beyonce. It's okay.
Right, you know. And I started thinking like, wow, this is really, you know, motivating me to stay in that life. So I stopped listening to music. I started replacing my music with motivational speaking. I started listening to podcasts. What podcast I want y'all to listen to is School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. It changed my life.
School of Greatness.
And School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. And when I started listening to all this, I started seeing that all happy and successful people share the same common values, the same common, you know, understanding of just knowing that, you know, you can be happy and that, you know, you have to wake up every morning grateful, thankful, and blessed for just being on this earth. You know, and when I started surrounding myself with the inspiration of other successful people and their mindset, and you know, I also started. I realized that when I did that, all of the people I were around, they were negative. So one thing I learned was I had to start it surrounding, you know, discarding of all my friends and some family that I loved the most because they were in a negative mindset. And when I did that, oh my gosh, that's what really helped me out most. And I was alone for a while, I ain't gonna lie, but I didn't have the negative, you know, inspiration. I didn't have the people that complained all the time. I didn't have the people, you know, making me stay in that mindset. So really quick, when you know, when I was tired of being sick and tired and I made the change and I started listening to motivation and started, you know, implementing the same successful routines that I was reading and that I was listening to on my podcast, I also started discarding all the negative people around me and my life started changing like this. You know, and that's how I became a champion. I was taught how to be a
Yeah.
champion. And when I was taught and I was listening to all these other champions and I realized, you know, I always are giving my secrets out. I always want to, you know, help others. I said I can do the same for others. I can help others become champions. And one thing
Mm-hmm.
to becoming a champion that we learned from our coach. Shout out to the Matrix, making a team realize its expectations. Yes, that's our group and our
Yes.
family. One thing he said is becoming a champion. He said sometimes you have to be an active participant in your own rescue. You have to become an active participant. So what he meant by that was you have to save yourself before you start saving others. So when I went into my cocoon and I went into my quiet place, oh, it was a dark place. And you know, I felt like I started redeveloping my mind and I started saving myself and I started understanding how to become a champion and people started seeing it. Then I went back out and what I'm doing now and started trying to rescue others and change their perception and mindset. And like you said, we're still on a path. And I feel like we'll be on a path for the rest of our lives to become the best versions of us, become a greater and greater champion. But once you
That
know, uh, are able to maintain a positive energy and vibe, I feel then you're ready to go and grab people and help them do the same and become the best version of themselves. So I was like you said, the question was what happened to me? I hit such a low point, I couldn't stay there no more. And I'm gonna tell you all out there right
mm,
now, if you're at a low point, you don't gotta stay there. That, you know, I told you, change what you listen to, change what you read, change the people you surround yourself with, and I bet you will see your life change. And you have me and
mm.
Kalila here. You can reach out to me anytime, and I'm pretty sure you can reach out to
Yeah.
her, and we'll be more than welcome. More than welcome. And that's why we're having this conversation right now.
It's such an interesting thing. Those points about changing. What people need to understand is something very interesting. They say a 1 degree change over a time period becomes more than just a 1 degree, because it started off small, but the angle continues to be on a trajectory. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But something else that you really pointed out, which is something that we don't talk about a lot, is the journey still continues until we actually take our last breath.
Yes.
People just assume that, like, people see me in a leadership position within the church, or even when they're doing the My Life is a Testimony, or they see the pictures, and they just assume everything's okay. Every situation changes you. Where I am today is not where I'm going to be in a year, but what happens today prepares me for a year, and that year from now will prepare me for 10 years, God willing, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is the journey doesn't end. The championship doesn't end. Like, it is always going. Now, you have different battles, you have different fields, you have different situations, you have different people who are on your team and in your army. They say there's like a season, a reason, or a lifetime. There's different things that are happening, but people need to understand that this is not just I'm good today and then I'm good for the rest of my life. When you get into a family, it's a different struggle. When you have your kids, when you get married, when you are in when you have a different job, when you have different bosses, when you have different coworkers, when you have different family members, when you have a mother-in-law or a father-in-law,
Yes.
it changes. People, environments bring different things into your life. And so every time your environment shifts, changes, every time you grow, every time something different in you changes, there's still something new to grow from. So who you are today doesn't mean that it's going to be different tomorrow. Who you are today doesn't mean it's going to be the same forever. You may be going through something today, but then all of a sudden you're that big fish in the small pond, and then all of a sudden you get shifted into a new phase in your life, and all of a sudden you're the small fish in the big pond.
Yeah.
And you've got to grow in that big pond all over again. So we want to have that conversation about, it's not, you have to remember that your mindset changes, your growth changes, things like that. Shout out to Tay, shout out to Jamie. Thank you for being on the line, my lovely ladies. Please share this. We're having some really good conversations with Mr. Rhys Withers. Mr. Rhys Washington. I was about to say Withers.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like,
Mr.
is she
Rhys
joking?
Washington. Fit for greatness. And My Life is a Testimony is in the house, because, we know what it's like. And the only reason why we say champions is really because there's been so many other people in our lives motivating us and lifting us and pushing us to be something, because we wanted more. There was something inside of us that wanted more. The funny thing about it was, Rhys, like, I didn't know this. We never had this conversation before, but you said, you got tired of being tired. You got low. And I know that feeling, because there was a point in time, when I know you don't know everything, but there was a point in time where I was suicidal, and I tried to commit suicide. And when I obviously it wasn't successful, you came out of it and you thinking there's got to be something greater. Yeah. If this is my rock bottom, there's got to be something greater. And so you strive for something greater. And when you strive for something greater, God put new things into your life. He put people into it, people that were going to motivate you. When you were actually ready to accept something better, when you actually it's like saying, it's my cranberry juice. You have this glass and you're holding on to this glass, and you're like, and God's saying, but you need to let go of it, because if you don't let go of it, I can't put something else in your hand. And when you let go of it, he comes and he goes, okay, now I can put this book in your hand, but catch this. The glass only gave you for a minute, but the book has a whole bunch of contacts in it. There's a whole bunch of resources that I have for you.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you recognize who's negative in your life right now? And if they're negative, are you willing to let them go so that something else can be put into your hand? Because technically speaking, there's only so much space that we can handle. If you juggle too many things, it becomes really hectic. But you have to let things go so that something else can come in. Do you know what I'm saying?
Great point. Amazing. 100%. And one thing you said just now was that, can you see who's negative in your life? And one thing I want to tell you, everyone who's listening, as you change and you grow and you become better, you're going to start realizing who's your friends and who's your foes. What I mean by that is, as you start to get better, I had a friend, right? She was heavy. She was heavier in weight. And she started losing weight, and she started growing, and she became this beautiful light, and her whole energy changed, her confidence, her self-esteem. And she wanted to help people be able to accomplish the same thing. So she started posting a lot about her change. Every week she posted about, pictures, progress pictures, when she was here to here. And there were certain friends that started going, why are you always talking about, you losing weight? Why are you always saying how happy you are? And she came to me, Rhys. She said, Rhys, why aren't these people happy that I changed? Why aren't they encouraging me and supporting me? And I said, Nicolette, because you're starting to realize who are your true friends and who are not. The people who make you feel bad for changing and becoming a better person are the ones you need to discard of. And the ones you need to keep are the people who are encouraging you to keep going. The people who are liking everything on your Instagram. The people who are calling you and saying, girl, I'm so proud of you. So people out there, how do you realize who your friends are? How do you realize who's the negative ones? Is when you start to become the best version of you, when you start to change and you start to show and you start to shine. You're going to have people who I call dimmers. They're going to try to dim your light. Those are the people who you got to let go. Even if you love them, sometimes they're the people the most closest to you. And then you're going to have the ones who keep encouraging you, who keep applauding you, who keep telling you you inspire them, who keep saying, I love you for all that you've been through and how you've changed. And those are the people who you draw in closer. And that just came, it came to my mind when you said, how do you know? And that's how I knew, and chocolate.
Well, the funny thing about it is one of the things that we also don't realize, and I've learned this over time, is that it's not necessarily that these people are trying to be negative. They just don't want more for their life. They're just comfortable where they are. And I'm not complaining about it or whatever, but if you're trying to be at a 5 and they're at a 1, then that's okay. Just understand that they're at a 1 and you're at a 5 and you're trying to be something greater. Like I have a friend, known this person for 10 plus years, and it wasn't until I actually started moving into the direction that the Matrix Group helped. I've always had dreams and goals, and the Matrix Group has been helping me to make those things actually become reality. And then you have a conversation with somebody and you realize, wait a minute, I've been chilling with you for the last 10 years, and every time I've been motivating you, the reason why you don't want to do something is because you actually just don't have any motivation. You don't want to be anything. You're okay being an employee. Well, I actually want to be a business owner. You know what I mean? You want to rent, I want a house. You don't have ambition. And I'm not saying everybody has to have it. We're just different people. And so you still love them, but sometimes you have to break apart from them. I've had to break apart from families had to break apart from me, because where I want to go, every time you come into my space, you want to be like, well, why you got to do this, or people are going to make fun of you, and it's not until you start reaching a certain place that people are like, wait a minute, this is actually obtainable. I went from having my mom, my own mother, I love her dearly, but my mom, with her own fears and her own life experiences, went from, why are you writing a book, people are going to laugh at you, to, you're actually going to do this. Okay, go ahead and do this.
Give me chills.
Do you know what I mean? But I had to take her out of my life for her to understand that I was going to go into a direction for myself, because I knew that's where I needed to go. And so I just want to encourage people to, I really want to encourage people. Okay, I'm going to take a moment here, Mr. Rhys, because we're getting lots and lots of comments, which is so amazing. Bless up to everybody that's leaving a comment. We've been definitely having this conversation for a while now, Mr. Rhys.
Has it been that long?
I'm gonna talk about some
I'm enjoying it so much. You know, I don't even realize
I
time.
know. You can put us on a conversation for like 3 hours. We're good. Okay, so I'm gonna note some comments, and if people have some questions, this is the time that you got to start posting your questions.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Tay, thank you for coming back again. She left some really good comments the last conversation. She says the signs will always be there if we recognize a sign and what it's trying to show you. So when she's talking about people and recognize them, Rhys, how did I not find you sooner? We're gonna have an incredible friendship, man. Apparently Zach likes you.
What's up, Zach?
Jaleesa, you can lead a horse to the water, and it's not that they lack motivation. I would say they fear the unknown.
Yes.
That's
a good
actually a
one.
really big that's a really big thing. People really do fear the unknown, and when some people are willing to skydive, the other person's like, no, I'm not going to do that at all. One person said, Wendy said, difference isn't wrong. We grow apart, or we grow apart once we know ourselves. That is very true. Once we actually, one of the other things that I've noticed is, where we are when we're changes as we grow older. When we come out of college and we have certain experiences, different people come on to different things. I see Mr. Rhys dropped off us for a minute. He'll be back on. People bring on experiences, and so as you grow older, there are things that you may have done before that life teaches you that you don't want to do again, or people don't want to be, that you don't want to be around again. Sorry, Rhys dropped off and I went kerfuffled for a minute. When you're 16, when you're in your teenage years, when you're in high school, there are people that you try to change to make yourself be around. You will be and do anything to be part of something. And you do that, or you're trying to please your parents, or you're trying to be part of something. But then as you grow older, as you get into your 20s and you start making certain life choices, or life experiences happen, or even when you realize that, you have to take care of yourself, you learn to have a voice. And when you have that voice and you develop, it changes. And once you start to grab that voice, develop that voice, really understand who you are, what you're growing into, how you're not going to let someone else dictate your happiness, but you're going to find your own happiness, that definitely changes whether or not you let people in your life, or how you, there we go, Mr. Rhys is coming back. Definitely changes how people are.
All right.
I want to say a shout out. I know that's okay. Round two. I want to say hello to Miss Cherise Francis, to Miss Mineth Morgan. We've got a couple of people that just jumped on. Want to say thank you so much for joining the conversation right now. We're getting a lot of. Please share the comments. Please share this page right now. We're having some really good conversations. Are there any more questions? Shanice says hi. Hi, Shanice.
Hey, Shanice.
How are you doing?
What's up?
Okay, so hello, Buttercup. Let's have a conversation. Are there any final things? There's some really great things happening for both of us this week, and because of who we are, what we're trying to do for our communities, what we're trying to do for ourselves, how we're determined to make it and not give in, how we're determined to love ourselves and to grow, how we're determined to put into our future. Hi, Wayne. We have, I want to ask you, if somebody's out there, what would you say to them right now? Somebody that is just, what kind of last minute words of motivation would you give them? What would you say to help them love themselves at this point in time? Want to just remind people before Mr. Rhys makes his comment, if you have questions, please post them right now. Okay, the floor is yours. What would you say to somebody right now?
It correlates to Wendy's question. She goes, for anyone just getting started in personal growth, what would each suggest be the first step? So I'm going to implement that as well. What would I say to them right now? I would say to them that you have to understand that we were all born here with the same opportunity. The opportunity to become better every day. The opportunity of living that, another statistic is the odds of us being here on this planet is 1 in 440 trillion. I want you to think about that. I just said trillion. 1 in 440 trillion is the odds of each individual being here on this planet. So that already in itself is an opportunity. You already defeated the odds. You're here. So knowing that and having that understanding, it's no reason to ever be down. There's no reason to ever, we're going to be, it's natural. Don't get it wrong. But I want you to think about that every time you're having a down moment. I want you to just be grateful that you're alive today, that you're seeing the light, that you're seeing this beautiful earth. You're seeing, other beautiful people. You're able to speak, to talk, to learn, to grow, to love. These are all opportunities you have that if you were never born, you wouldn't have had. And because of that opportunity, I want to say that we all have the opportunity to be great. And you're like, great? Yes, great. Because my definition of great is being the
great
champion, is being a champion you can be. Being a better person, bro, than you were yesterday. Okay? Do we all have different circumstances? Yes. But that doesn't mean we don't have the same opportunity. That just means that some of us have to work harder. But let me tell you this. I'm blessed that I had to work hard. Working hard is more of a gift to me than if I didn't, than if I was given everything. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I reach the level and I continue to reach another level and reach another level, oh my God, just so much more rewarding after you had to put in some grit, some effort, and you had to struggle. And you built character, and you're looking at yourself like, I just did that after I just had to go through that. Woo! So if you're struggling right now, if you weren't given everything, if you didn't have the uncle that got you the job, or the mother that bought you the car, or the because when you come in and you continue to become greater, up and becoming greater, so much more just enjoyable. So did you see how I just changed the perception? I changed my mind frame. That's how you got to think. You got to understand that every day is a day to be grateful, a day to be thankful, and that you're blessed, and that you have the same opportunity as every individual on this earth, and that you are fit for greatness. You have a mind, ability to learn, an ability to persevere, an ability to get through anything you want to. And you actually have people that want to help you. That's my last thing. Do not be scared of help. A lot of my friends, I'm trying to get them to attend, seminars with me and motivation things and be around, people who want to help. And help me. I did everything I did on my own. And they have that mindset. And I need people. We need to break out of that mindset. That, yes, there's a lot of selfish people on this earth, but there's a lot of people like me, Kalila, like the Matrix team that we have, that want to help, that want to, pour into you, because we've been through it all too, and then we can relate to it. So just know you're fit for greatness. Know that you have an opportunity and a blessing that, it's time to take advantage of. And it's time to become the best version of you. And it's not going to be easy. But, yeah, Kalila Rock.
Yeah, so like a couple of really good points that you have there. I'm going to answer Wendy's question in terms of, your personal development. One of the things that works for me is knowing where your safe and happy places are. Because as Maurice just pointed out, it's not always going to be easy. But part of that personal development is, you know, when things do get hard, where's that safe, comfy place? Like, it sounds crazy, but I'm a nature girl. I'm a water girl. I'm a driver. Like, when things are getting crazy or I haven't figured it out, you'll find me you'll find me listening to music, driving somewhere. Um, but also the thing about it is yeah, one of the great things that you also pointed out, Mo, is the fact that, you know, we're so used to negative people around us that it is so hard for us to accept positive people because we assume that they're immediately going to turn into negative people. And some of those positive people may, but the thing about it is this, you know, did you only date one person? You know, did it go wrong or did you keep dating other people? Did you only go for one job? Did you try other jobs? Did you only go for one school team? You know what I mean? Did you only have one best friend? There are people that might hurt you, but there are people that will lift you up because they know what it's like to be in a rough place and they don't want you to be there. So I'm gonna end with that point and go into something that's being really amazing for both of us this weekend, because we've been on this chat for almost an hour. So I want to, unless anybody has, if you have your last minute questions, please post them now as we're closing up. But you have something amazing going on tomorrow night, and I have something amazing happening on Thursday. So I'm actually gonna take this opportunity just to highlight it, because well, when you're talking about having amazing people around you, that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening for you tomorrow. And for what people don't know is I'm in Toronto and Rhys is over in New Jersey. So tell us what's going on with you tomorrow so that people have an idea of where they need to be, where they can find positive people, how they can connect with you, how they can strive to go into that championship mindset, man. Let's give us some 411.
So tomorrow, Newark, New Jersey, Robert Tree Hotel.
Yes.
We're having an amazing individual, a firecracker, you know, a light, you know, that looks like, you know, when Batman puts his signal in the air, this is how his light shines.
I'm telling you, he said that.
You know, whenever he's in town, you just see his light, I swear. And, the Matrix team, New Jersey, you know, we're here in New Jersey. We're holding an event, you know, and he's coming to talk about wealth creation. And, you know, he's a multimillionaire who's made over 100 multimillionaires with his knowledge and his, you know, pouring into individuals. And he's touring the nation right now. I believe he's going to be in Toronto next week. And we were blessed to have him here in New Jersey, and our team brought him in, and he's going to talk about what, you know, the top 3% of this world, how do they stay successful? How did they get to that point? How did they develop their wealth? Coming from nothing to something. He himself has come from nothing and is a self-made millionaire. So we're so blessed to bring him to New Jersey. If you want more information, please contact me, the Robert Treat Hotel, tomorrow at 7:30. I will send you a flyer, but you want to be there. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be filled with other business leaders and entrepreneurs and people who want to grow and take their mindset as well as their business, as well as their network to the next level, which we call leveling up. And if you're thirsty or you're hungry for growth,
I've been waiting for that all night.
Because, you know, I'm thirsty.
You guys have been waiting for that. You have no idea. You have no idea. Rhys is so infamous for thirsty. Thirsty. This man will take a gallon of water and drink it a day.
Then this is the place you want to be.
You don't have it. I'm assuming you finished it.
Yes, I did. I finished my gallon today.
This comes back to something that's really amazing for those of you that are watching. What Mr. Nelson has created is a worldwide family of people who actually want to help each other achieve their dreams. You know, what Rhys is talking about is something really amazing. Now, what I'm doing on Thursday is it's a really interesting thing. I get to lead a conversation called "Let's Leave a Legacy, Not a Will." And the funny thing about it is, you know, coming into an environment where you have somebody such as Mr. Nelson, who has been battle tested, who has been able to successfully do something over and over and over again, hundreds and thousands of times again, and duplicate it. And because he should have been a statistic, because he should have been dead and is not, like me and Rhys get this, I should be in a grave and I'm not. And he really just wants to help people, and his help is on the financial side, but not just the financial side. He's also about personal development. He's also about becoming the best version of you that you were created to be, and who we are right now. I'm not even the best. I'm not the best version of what I'm created to be. And I have, it's really funny because, you know, conversation, I don't have kids. So for me to lead this is very interesting, but I have a nephew. And I have not just a nephew, I have a couple of nephews and nieces. I have a ministry, a program called My Life is a Testimony. I have little spiritual little brothers and sisters, and I'm watching them struggle, or I'm watching them go through stuff. And I want to I want when I leave that somebody knows my name. The whole world doesn't need to know my name. I may not be Oprah, but I do want to make sure that when I leave, that somebody knows my name because I did something good for them. I do want to know that when time has passed, that my 10-year-old nephew, his college tuition is taken care of. When my nieces and nephews need certain things done, we don't have to struggle. We can have nonprofits instead of be a nonprofit. Do you know what I'm saying? And so both myself and Rhys are going to post our information about, you know, the things that we're doing. He's in New York right now. I'm in Toronto. But the fact of the matter is if you have people that are willing to support you, show you something different, if you're willing to be coachable, if you're willing to have someone who actually has a good heart, if you are willing to allow yourself to be placed in an environment that is love. The culture is love. The culture is helping one another. The culture is taking your dream and idea for whatever it might be and growing it, even though many people in your life might have said, no, you can't do this. No, you shouldn't be this. No, you shouldn't go there. No, why would you go and do that? Well, your cousin or your uncle tried it. It didn't work for them, but I'm not my cousin or my uncle. If they turn around and you've had all these people that have had their own fears take you down, and then all of a sudden we're saying, but you can come into a room, you can come into a family, you can come into a space, you can come into an environment where they're like, you want to build a homeless shelter? Let's do it. Let's show you how you can get all of these stuff and be self-funded. You want to take care of your family? You know what? Not a problem. You don't have to be in a housing anymore. You could be something else. You know what? Your mom was dealing with addictions. You were dealing with addictions. You want to have programs out there to help people? You know what? Let's do that. You have ideas of greater things to do in this world. I have a spiritual little sister. I'm so proud, and I pray to God like that this happens. As soon as it came out of her mouth, I was like, I hope this happens. She wants to have like a daycare for autistic kids. I've never thought about that. Just the other day, I just saw on the TV, someone has a playground, a water playground for kids in wheelchairs. People have dreams. We have inspirations. And even though there might have been people in your life that might have tore you down, we're saying if you want to be part of a group, or if you just want to see, I don't care if you want to peek in the window and be like, is this legit? Come out. Come out. Come on the phone. Go out to Jersey if you're in New York. If you're in Toronto, we'll drop the information for you on Thursday. But you know what? Why not? There are people all around you that are proof that a dream can come true. You're watching internet right now because of someone else's dream. You're on an iPhone because of Steve Jobs. Like, there's so many different things that we physically touch all the time, and it was someone's dream that became a reality. Yes. We're saying to you, if that's what you want to, and you know what? If wealth comes with it, yay! Yay! But it's not the bottom line. If you want to be a better you, if you want something more, if you want to grow, if you want to be around a positive environment, if you want somebody who is willing to coach you to be the best that you can be, connect with us. Connect with us, because we really, truly, from the bottom of our hearts, want you to be happy, because we know what it's like. We know what it's like to strive to go through the pig mud. We know what it's like to go through the dirt. We know what it's like to have the tears. We know what it's like to cry why. We know what it's like to be in the corner. But then we also know what it's like to jump in the air with freedom, how to have fresh air into our lungs, what it means to achieve great things, what it means to love ourselves, what it means to be proud of who we are, what it means to have a voice for one and for ourselves, what it means to have a fit for greatness, and a my life is a testimony. So if there's something inside of you and you want this as much as we've wanted it and manifested it, link us. Link us.
Link us.
Because
We're
the
here.
truth of the matter is we just want to help.
That's all. That's all. I'm looking
to. So I'm going to give you the last word. I think I've said enough.
So you sure you want to give it to me? Because I might keep talking for another hour. Because we want to help, and we have so much that we want to, that we learn through this process that we want to give to you. One last thing I want to say. One last thing is that Einstein, one of the greatest, said, to achieve the impossible, you have to see the invisible. So she said, we're on the internet right now talking because, somebody had a dream and they made it come true. Nobody ever thought that this was going to be possible. But they achieved the impossible because they had a vision of the invisible. The last thing I want to say, scratch out, and I want you to mix. You're going to take seeing is believing, and you're going to switch those words. So, usually it's seeing is believing. I have to see it to believe it. No. I want you to start knowing that you have to believe it to see it. Believing is seeing. Mm-hmm. Once you believe it here and you can envision it and you can see yourself there, then you'll actually attempt it. Think about that. Believing is seeing. Not seeing is believing. You have to believe it to see it. And once you envision it, you'll attempt to accomplish it. And that's when it starts right here. So believe in you and believe that this world is great and that there are people out there like us who are ready to pour into you and to help you become the best version of yourself because you're fit for greatness. And I'm done.
And thank you so much. Mic drop. Thank you so much for hosting with me this evening. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
This is Kalila Briswell from My Life is a Testimony and Mr. Rhys Washington for Fit for Greatness. We're going to post our sites on the bottom of this comment. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome to connect with either one of us personally. You're more than welcome to share this live stream across different forums that you think might be useful for other people. We are both motivational speakers and inspirational speakers. So if you ever want to have either one of us come in, give us a call. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love, everybody. Thank you, Kalila. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.